She was the most photographed woman in the world, a fairy tale princess, a fashion icon, a mother, a martyr.
Hey, over here.
We think we know the story of Diana, Princess of Wales. But the
What are you
public
wearing
image,
tonight?
the one frozen in time by a million camera flashes, is only the beginning of the story. Beyond the headlines and the tragedy lies a hidden legacy, a series of quiet revolutions she started that are still reshaping the world and the monarchy itself to this day. These weren't just actions, they were carefully planned strategies, subtle rebellions, and acts of profound empathy that the palace never anticipated. This isn't the story of how Diana died. This is the story of how she lives on, in ways most people have never realized.
I understand.
We are about to expose the
I
10
will do
most powerful
whatever I
parts
can
of
to help
Princess
you.
Diana's hidden legacy, a blueprint for change that has become more influential than the crown she never wore. Number 10. Rewriting the rules of royal photography. Before Diana, royal photographs were stiff, formal, and distant. The subjects were symbols, not people. Diana understood the power of an image better than anyone. She broke the fourth wall, looking directly into the lens, creating an intimate connection with the public. She allowed photographers to capture moments of vulnerability, joy, and sorrow, turning royal photography from portraiture into photojournalism. She controlled her own narrative through images, whether it was sitting alone at the Taj Mahal to signal a marriage in crisis or striding through a field of landmines. She taught the world that a single photograph could be more powerful than 1,000 royal decrees. Why it matters? She created the visual language of modern royalty, a template of relatability and emotional access that her sons and royals worldwide still follow today. Number 9. The Landmine Ban Treaty. In early 1997, Diana walked through a recently cleared minefield in Angola. The images were electrifying and controversial. She was accused by government officials of being a loose cannon, meddling in political affairs. But she wasn't just posing for cameras, she was leveraging her global platform to bring attention to a forgotten humanitarian crisis. Her high-profile campaign gave a massive boost to the international campaign to ban landmines. Just months after her death, 122 countries signed the Ottawa Treaty, banning the use of anti-personnel landmines. Leaders involved in the campaign directly credited her advocacy as a critical turning point in securing global support. Why it matters? This was her most direct and lasting political achievement, proving a royal could create tangible, global policy change through sheer force of will and celebrity. Number 8. Destigmatizing HIV/AIDS. In the 1980s, fear and misinformation about HIV and AIDS were rampant. The public was terrified, and patients were treated like pariahs. In 1987, at the height of the panic, Diana visited London's Middlesex Hospital and did something revolutionary. She sat on the bed of a man with AIDS and shook his hand without wearing gloves. It was a simple, calculated gesture that sent a shockwave around the world. In that one moment, she challenged the fear and the stigma, showing the world that this was a human illness, not a moral failing. She showed that compassion was more powerful than prejudice. She continued this work for the rest of her life, holding and hugging patients when many were afraid to even be in the same room. Why it matters? She used her global platform to single-handedly change public perception of a deadly disease, saving countless people from isolation and shame. Number 7. Revolutionizing royal parenting. Historically, royal children were raised by nannies and governesses, seeing their parents for brief, formal periods. Diana refused to follow this cold tradition. She was a hands-on mother who was determined to give her sons, William and Harry, a glimpse of a normal life outside palace walls. She insisted on choosing their first names, selecting their schools, and being present for their daily lives. She took them to McDonald's, theme parks, and crucially, to homeless shelters and charity visits. She wanted them to understand their privilege and the struggles of ordinary people. This was a radical departure from centuries of royal protocol. Why it matters. Her approach created a new model for royal parenting, directly influencing how William and Catherine are raising the next generation of heirs with more emotional awareness and connection. Number 6. The revenge dress and weaponized fashion. Diana always understood that her clothes spoke volumes, but after her separation from Charles, her fashion choices became a powerful form of communication, a silent weapon in her war with the establishment. The most famous example was the black Christina Stambolian dress she wore in 1994. On the very night Prince Charles confessed his adultery on national television, Diana stepped out in a daring, off-the-shoulder dress that broke every royal-style rule. It was dubbed the revenge dress. It dominated the next day's front pages, completely eclipsing Charles's interview. She showed she would not be a victim, but a powerful, independent woman in control of her own image. Why it matters. She pioneered the art of using fashion as a strategic tool for public relations, a tactic now used by celebrities and public figures everywhere. Number 5. The blueprint for modern celebrity philanthropy. Before Diana, royal charity work was often a matter of cutting ribbons and attending sterile galas. It was passive and ceremonial. Diana transformed it. She got her hands dirty. She sat with the dying, hugged the sick, and listened to the stories of the forgotten. She narrowed her focus to a few key causes, like homelessness, AIDS, and landmines, where she felt she could make a real difference. This targeted, hands-on approach maximized her impact and created a new blueprint. She showed that celebrity wasn't just about glamour, it was a form of power that could be wielded for good. Why it matters. She invented the model for modern high-impact celebrity philanthropy, which has since been adopted by stars from Angelina Jolie to George Clooney. Number 4. Forcing the monarchy to modernize. In life, Diana often clashed with the rigid, unemotional institution of the monarchy. In death, she forced it to change forever. The week after her passing, the royal family remained silent at Balmoral, following protocol. But the public, grieving openly, saw their silence as a lack of caring. The unprecedented outpouring of public grief was a direct rebuke to the old, stiff upper lip way of the monarchy. Under immense pressure, the Queen returned to London, gave a televised address, and allowed the Union flag to fly at half-mast over Buckingham Palace for the first time. It was a turning point. Why it matters. Diana's death forced the monarchy to learn the language of emotion and public relations to survive in the modern age. Number 3. The confessional interview. In 1995, Diana sat down for a secret interview with the BBC's Panorama programme. It was an act of open rebellion. She spoke with shocking candour about her postnatal depression, her bulimia, the breakdown of her marriage, and the pressures of royal life. Her line, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," became instantly iconic. The interview was a bombshell that blew the doors off the carefully constructed facade of royal life. The establishment was horrified, but over 23 million people in the UK alone tuned in. She had bypassed the palace machine and spoken directly to the people, telling her own story in her own words. Why it matters. She created the template for the modern tell-all interview, demonstrating that an individual's personal truth could challenge an ancient institution. Number 2. The enduring Diana effect on the media. Diana had a complex, symbiotic, and ultimately tragic relationship with the press. They built her up, and their relentless pursuit contributed to her death. But her story created an insatiable public appetite for every detail of her life, which in turn permanently changed the media landscape. This intense focus fueled the rise of modern celebrity-obsessed tabloid culture. The commercial value of a single paparazzi shot of her skyrocketed, creating a dangerous and aggressive industry. The line between public interest and private life was irrevocably blurred, setting a precedent that affects public figures to this day. Why it matters. Her life and death defined the boundaries and ethics of modern media, a debate that continues to rage around her own sons. Number 1. The legacy of human connection. Beyond the politics, fashion and media, Diana's most profound legacy is something simpler: her insistence on human connection. In an institution defined by protocol and distance, she reached out and touched people, literally and emotionally. A hug for a sick child, a hand held for a dying patient, a shared laugh with a stranger. This was her superpower. She showed that empathy was not a weakness, but a strength. This is the core lesson she taught her sons, and it's visible in every interaction they have. They don't just shake hands, they connect. They share their own struggles with mental health, breaking down the same walls of stigma their mother did. Why it matters. In an increasingly disconnected world, Diana's ultimate legacy is the radical idea that the most powerful thing a person can do is to simply show another human being that they are seen, heard, and cared for. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the strange dining rituals King Charles still follows today. These quiet habits, some ancient, some deeply personal, reveal far more about the man behind the crown than any public appearance ever could. If you enjoyed exploring this hidden side of royal life, take a moment to let me know. Leave a comment with the ritual that surprised you the most. I read every single one. And if you learned something new, tap the like button so this story reaches more people who love royal mysteries as much as you do. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe before you go. There are so many more royal secrets, rituals, and forgotten traditions coming, and I'd love to have you with us for the next chapter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.